Start in 1 second. Okay. Before the Wright brothers took flight, humans had always dreamt about going to the skies. Whether you're looking at people from the Montgolfier brothers in 1783, or you're looking at the hot balloons carrying passengers in the air for the first time. Over the 19th century, inventors kept experimenting over and over with different gliders, but controlled powered flight remained elusive. Okay, let's start with it. When it comes to aviation and the Wright brothers, the story actually starts prior to 1903. For many centuries, people were trying different ways to try to fly. Now, of course, you can look out and see birds flying, and you can begin to wonder, what would it take for us to fly like that? Now, there is actually a famous mathematician by the name of Daniel Bernoulli that you might have heard of. Before we go on, I'm going to buckle up here. If you lived about 100 years ago, you would not be, about 150 years ago, you would not be buckling up in an airplane. That's because we didn't have that option. But in 1903, the Wright brothers did something else phenomenal. I want to encourage you to read the book called The Wright Brothers by David McCullough. So prior to 1903, there was myths and there was diagrams by people like Leonardo da Vinci. And then in 1783, the Montgolfier brothers launched the first hot air balloon. That's critical and important. And you will see some of that here at the museum, at the Historical Aviation Memorial Museum here in Tyler, Texas. What happened is that air balloon was carrying passengers into the air for the first time. Throughout the 19th century, inventors experimented with gliders, yet controlled powered flight remained elusive. Then comes the story of the Wright brothers. Wilbur and Orville Wright, hailing from Dayton, Ohio, were problem solvers with a passion for mechanics and flight. As children, they were inspired by a toy helicopter given to them by their father, who had come from a trip. He had gone overseas to, I believe it was France, and this fueled their fascination with flight. See, this is one of the reasons I tell parents that your children can know exactly what they want to do with their lives, even if they're still in middle school, when they're in elementary school. And part of what I do in my math curriculum framework is I try to explain that we should teach people the applications of science and mathematics and show them different careers that use those principles so that children by the age of 12 know exactly where they're headed in life. Now, can they pivot? Of course. People pivot and people change, but they need to be going in a direction at some point. I mean, what is the goal of telling people to keep bouncing around without any direction and that they'll figure it out later, when they could have a vision now and try to steer their ship in that direction? And if they need to change, no problem, as long as the activities and the courses they're taking, of course, are relevant, such as math, physics, chemistry. Those are relevant to many, many things. And so these boys, brought their experience in with their shop. The experience in bicycle mechanics. They brought it to, and it provided key insights into balance, aerodynamics, and lightweight structures. They brought that experience. So never undermine the experience you get from one field and bringing it into another field. But then in 1903, a breakthrough happened. On December 17th of 1903 at Kitty Hawk in North Carolina, the Orville, they piloted the first flight for 12 seconds, covering 120 feet. Three more flights followed that day, with Wilbur achieving the longest flight of 852 feet in 59 seconds. What set them apart? Well, first of all, they didn't just build a flying machine. They built the first practical airplane. Number two, the Wright brothers were able to launch the world into a certain direction, which, by the way, just about 12 to 14 years later, you have World War I happening, right, starting in 1914, and we see some of the applications there of aviation already. Now, of course, you get to World War II in 1939 to 1945, and things get even more interesting. At the museum here, you will learn about World War I, you learn about World War II, and more. What is the impact that they had on aviation? Well, their breakthrough spurred rapid advancements in both military and commercial flight. In 1908, they were demonstrating their planes to the world, paving the way for modern aerospace industry. The legacy today, their pioneering spirit lives on in today's supersonic jets. And, in space travel, there's some physics there that we can learn. The dream that started in a humble bicycle shop is now taking people far, right? I can be in Nigeria in less than 20 hours if I could just fly directly. I don't own a jet, but if somebody gave me that jet, I could be in Nigeria in less than 20 hours. That is amazing. That was not possible even in 1910. So where do we go from here? I hope you're inspired by the story of the Wright brothers. We're going to show you some footage about the Wright brothers. And then if you want to explore careers in aviation and STEM, then it's important that you have a solid base in mathematics. And that's part of what we do with our Accounting to Calculus framework. We want to make sure that everybody is thinking about math in the bigger scheme of things. So stay tuned for more videos on the Wright brothers. I hope that this has been an encouragement to you as you learn more about the history of aviation. Have a blessed day.